Hi. Yesterday, when I was talking about making birds for the aviary that goes attached to the Beacon Hill house that I'm building, I said I was doing some research, and basically that was to find out how big these little birds were so I could get them in the right scale for the 12th scale aviary. And that meant that I ended up with a little drawing showing, like my lovebirds I was talking about, would be basically about 1/4 inch high. And a chaffinch would be around 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch, depending on them. And same with the scarlet cardinal, he'd be about the same size. And that gives you an idea. And then the parrot would be bigger. Parrots can go up to about 1.5 feet. So that's what I started from. And I realised making little birds that size, I'm never going to have the time to make miniature masterpieces. I am going to have to go for getting them as best I can in a kind of a flock situation where I have lots of little birds. And so those are my little pink lovebirds, which I made. And I also made some down here, I'll show you. Against the white, it's easier. And some little canaries. And I figured at that size, if I get their eyes in the right place and their beaks and the little bodies and their feet and a few feathers, I'm going to go a long way to getting them looking good in my aviary. And this is going to be the back wall of the aviary. It's kind of I've made it look like rock. It'll have mosses on it, and it might even have water dripping down it. And so these little birds will be around this aviary. I'm not even sure if this is going to feature, but I was just using it to see. So along with those, I made some blue jays. I mean, I haven't got my birds looking stilted. My birds are having fun. But they started to look a bit like characters, comic characters. I had to be careful, especially with the jaybirds, because they've got such expressive little faces. Can you see those okay? And the little bluebirds. So I think I was starting to get a bit fanciful by the time I'd finished making all these little birds. I quite like those cute little ones. So lovebirds can be pale green, blue. They can look like pale parrots. They can be any colour really. There's a lot of them, different colours. So there we have it. Those are kind of some of the birds that I've been working on, and I'm using polymer clay and I'm using acrylic paints to detail them, and I'm using a few feathers to give them their tails. And I was working on a parrot. Forgive my messy hands, but I don't have tidy, neat little hands like most people on TV. I have workman's hands. And I've been making this parrot, which will be finished off with paint. But I'm getting the size right, I think, pretty much. Okay. Now, I'll just show you quickly how I made this little bluebird. He's going to be one of the multitudes, one of the tiny multitudes. I've just put him on a tile because he'll be baked. And I was just rolling a little ball of blue, like a little fat piece like that. And with this, it's about putting their eyes in first so you get an idea of how their heads are going to go. And their little beaks can be made by squeezing the polymer clay between pliers. So you just bring their beak out a little bit. And I found that the polymer clay was my favourite. I got the detail in that. I was using kind of air-dried clay, but it doesn't have the detail. And I'm just putting in little bits of wings in there. And this is the tiny bit, right? And I poke a hole in there so that I can put their feet in. And then I'll put a tiny little blue feather on the back for his tail. And he'll be one of many other little bluebirds that will be fluttering around in that aviary. And I will bake those for about 10 minutes. So there we have it. I've been sitting here making birds all day. I'll have to do something different tomorrow.